talk about the term wife guy and how it's become a bit of an insult. Firstly, in case you're not familiar with the term, a wife guy isn't just another way of saying a married man. It actually is a bit of a mutation of the Instagram boyfriend. You know, the Instagram boyfriend who takes pictures of his partner. The wife guy sort of publicly performs his joy in his partner on the internet, usually, somewhere online. A wife guy is essentially someone whose personality is formed by his role as a husband.
His identity is like about who he's married to.
Exactly. And about being married and about the fact that she is his wife. That's kind of his personality. Yeah. So it first came to prominence around the time that Me Too was happening, when there was all this talk about shitty men, and there were these men who were like, I'm not shitty, I love my wife. And there was a guy in particular, a guy called Robbie Tripp, who had a wife who was sort of curvy, and he's like, I love my curvy wife. And he started posting this content about his curvy wife as if he was some kind of a hero for being sexually attracted.
Loving a woman who wasn't a size zero.
Woman who was curvy. So nice. And when I went back and looked at this, she was not even curvy. She's probably a size 10. Anyway, some of the more high-profile examples of wife guys would be Prince Harry, ASAP Rocky, who is the partner of Rihanna.
ASAP Rocky?
I was going to let it slide.
No, we're leaving that in. We are not editors. We are not editing that out.
Sorry.
ASAP Rocky.
Well,
Grandma.
It's one of those things that I don't say out loud a lot.
Oh, my God. $$.
Sorry.
A.P. Rocky.
ASAP.
Oh, my God.
Nick Jonas. It is pronounced phonetically.
Try and move on.
Ryan Reynolds, John Legend, husband of Chrissy Teigen. Ryan Reynolds, of course, husband of Blake Lively. Barack Obama, husband of Michelle. Travis Kelce, partner of Taylor Swift. And David Beckham, husband of Posh. So all of those men are not only not emasculated by their successful partners, often their partners are more successful and high profile than they are, but they actually rejoice in it, right? So they seem to be delighted by the fact that they are married to these exceptional women.
And this is bad.
Well, the patron saint, it can become bad. And this, I'm going to give you an example of how it's become bad. The patron saint of wife guys in its pejorative form would probably be Brooklyn Beckham, who has dozens of tattoos of his wife, Nicola Peltz Beckham, all over his body. And his whole personality is like 80% being married and 20% hot sauce.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
So once upon a time, these guys would have been called pussy whipped.
Yep.
Ooh.
Now sometimes they're called cucks.
Yeah.
But it has become a bit of a, if you look at the Brooklyn Beckham example, he's such a wife guy. It means that their whole personality is really just about being married. And there was a piece that you shared with us from The Atlantic this week, written by a wife guy who was protesting that he's meant to feel embarrassed about being a wife guy and how he gets teased about it from his mates.
I thought it was a really nice piece because I was like, oh, this man really likes his wife. That's so nice. And I didn't realize that it could be the opposite. And I feel like the latest example I heard of what I would assume is a wife guy is Walton Goggins. Yeah. Because of all the rumors that he had allegedly cheated on his wife with his co-star. And everyone thought that happened because all of his comments on his wife's Instagram was so full of, I love you so much. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. You're my ocean, my river, my lake.
So it's like a red flag.
It smells of guilt. Smells of guilt.
So I thought wife guy now is like if a man shows too much love towards his wife publicly, he's secretly cheating.
We are being so insincere if we think that a wife guy is just a man who loves his wife. That is not what a wife guy means. When I hear that, it conjures up an image of someone I follow on Instagram, right? This is not a famous person. This is an acquaintance. And he is a wife guy. And what he does is he shares so many beautiful pictures of his wife. And maybe she's walking around in like a jumper but like no pants on, like a little underpants, and she looks really sexy.
So what did he do?
Well, exactly right.
What did he do wrong?
That's what I'm like, what have you done? And she's walking around like on the beach and he just loves taking photos and talking about how beautiful she is, right? And I'm just like,
oh, well, that is a bit creepy.
Men like you before and you're cheating on her. I have no evidence.
Oh, you think he's cheating on her?
Yes, I do think he's cheating on her.
I was going to say it seems like he's sort of objectively objectifying her
Yes.
as a way to make himself look better. Like, because the subtext is, look what I got.
Look what I got.
Look
but
what I landed.
Who's it for, right? There is something about, and I found this with the Atlantic piece. I'm like, it's so lovely that you love your wife. I don't care that much. And I don't. It's like when someone wants to thrust onto you their relationship and it's like, I don't feel it because I'm not in it. So it's more like a thing for you to discuss and tell each other how much you love each other. But if someone is performing it on Instagram, the reason it smells inauthentic is because we have data points that support that. Like there are so many examples of people who go full, I love my wife, the post, that I love my baby. Remember like Adam Levine was a mad wife guy and then boom, cheated on her with like text messages. There are so many examples of men like that. And so I think we're being like we're using evidence to suggest
don't you just
they
mean
can't
that
be
men
trusted.
who love their wife also sometimes cheat on their wife?
No. It's a particular kind of performance. It's a particular kind of performance that the men that I know in my own relationships, the men who put me on Instagram the quickest were the ones who also ghosted me the fastest.
Oh, wow.
Do you feel that to be true, Em, as our professional data?
I think all men should be wife guys because as a single woman, the amount of time I've spent scrolling on men's Instagrams before I find out they've been married for 9 years is ridiculous. Because there's also no such thing as husband girls, right? Because everyone—
I disagree. I know them.
Everyone
what do you
is
call
a
them?
husband girl though. Everyone is a husband
No,
girl. Like
they're
if you
not.
go on a woman's Instagram and you can pin posts on Instagram, I guarantee you the first 3 posts will be a pin of her wedding day, her engagement, the last trip they took to Barcelona
but
together.
That's about her. That's here's me in my wedding dress and also here's me on my trip to Barcelona in a bikini and he just happens to be there.
So what's the term? What's the pussy
difference
whip term
is-
for a woman?
I've never thought about it before in terms of giving it a name, but I can think of 2 people I know who do exactly this. They're husband girls and they post hot shots of their husbands all the time and talk about their husbands in a way that's, I don't want to say objectifying, but that's
That
like,
feels subversive, doesn't it? It feels like
oh no, to me it just feels like a flex. It's the same kind of flex as a husband guy.
So are they both hot husbands?
Yeah.
Because I think that's different to being a husband girl. I think if you're posting your hot husband, everyone should be doing that because you're doing that for the girls. You're not doing that to show that you're doing something wrong.
Oh, you mean like as a public service?
Yeah, I think
Look at
what
my
a
hot
husband girl is more like all the photos on their Instagram stories will be like the husband with the kids and the husband doing that. And if you notice, like even when women go on holidays with families, all the photos are husbands and kids because she's the one taking the photos.
Yeah.
what's implicit in this, like especially the wife guy terminology, what's implicit is that in a heterosexual relationship, men should have the upper hand. Like that's how culturally we understand it, is that men should have the power. So then when it looks like a man is worshipping a woman, we're like, well, what is going on here? And like we get a magnifying glass out and try and understand it. And we see them as a cuck or emasculated or as somehow betraying the social order. Like that's why these terms in and of themselves are like pretty sexist. But I do think that there's something to a type of man who is performing his hetero relationship in order to just get attention and applause from other people, from everyone except his wife.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all performing our personalities on social media, right? Whether you've got a profile or not. Everybody's deciding what they put out there. And for some people, it's their kids that are their identity. For some people, it's their work that's their identity. For some people, it's their face or their body, their ass that's their identity. But for some women, it's their husbands. And for some men, it's their wives. And I think that the term wife guy is interesting is because, as you say, it is kind of subversive because we can think of a million examples of men who are really emasculated by their partners who are beautiful, successful, or just, you know, don't want to talk about how much they love their partners because they'll be seen as soft. So I think it stands out.
What I also want to talk about is the different levels of embarrassment between the wife guy and the husband girl.
Okay.
Because in the Atlantic piece, the wife guy, he's embarrassed because his friends take the piss out of him for loving his wife so much. Whereas with my friends who are like posting about their partners all the time, the embarrassment comes when they break up and they realize they have to archive a shitload more posts than their partner.
So true. And actually, I'm thinking about it. A wife guy posts, and as this guy said, like his friends are kind of rolling their eyes.
Yeah.
I've seen it with male friends, and they kind of go, "Oh, look at you, old ball and chain," or like all of those revolting, like ridiculous terms. Whereas if I were to post a picture of Luca and I and do some kind of Academy Award acceptance speech for how much I love him, the fire emojis I would get from my gals, they would be there in a heartbeat, goals, love hearts, love you guys.
I want what they have.
You would comment mum and dad.
I would
like,
comment that. I think I have commented
Leah
that
would
on yours.
reshare and be like couple goals, and the encouragement would be beautiful.